Hello everyone, good evening, namaste and salam alaikum people. How are you all? Guys, welcome to the session. Hi kids. Hello Sakit. How are you bacha? Good evening. So guys, how do organisms reproduce? Very important chapter, and today we here have the one short revision session for this chapter. So how many of you are excited? Hello. Is Menti there? No, beta, there's no Menti today. We are just going to revise the entire chapter at one go. So, hi Arushi, Ritesh. Hello, Bacha Party, Chanchal, Saket. Hi, kiddos. Hi, everyone out there. Oh, Saket was just here for Menti. ठीक है, no worries, beta. Bye, Saket. So, guys, let's get started. So today we are actually going to revise the entire chapter in one go without wasting any further time. Let's quickly get started. And students, it's not always about Menti. It's also about revising, the brushing up the concepts that you have already studied. So stay with me right till the end so that you get a zest of the concepts for your examination. And yeah, here we go. Okay, chalo, let's get started. Yeah, very easy chapter, but then the chapter which would be having greater weightage of marks, okay, because it's one of the lengthiest chapters. Then next we have heredity only, है ना? After that our environment, which is very tiny. So this chapter will have basically a greater weightage. So do take it seriously, ठीक है? हल्के में मत लेना. Yeah, very easy chapter. So guys, what's the definition of reproduction? This definition is being asked for 1 marks. Okay. So giving birth to young ones of own kind, same kind, is what we call it as reproduction. Right? Now, significance of reproduction. Why reproduction is essential? For continuity of life on the planet Earth, for continuity of species. If organisms stop reproducing, the birth rate and the death rate will get skewed, and there will not be a proper balance maintained. Right? Yes, Chanchal. Yes. Perfect. है ना? And to increase the number of species in an ecosystem, again, organisms are for reproduction. And reproduction, especially when I talk about sexual reproduction, it's a prime reason behind variations, and variations lead to biodiversity, and eventually it also helps in the evolution of species. Okay? Yeah. So ma'am, full chapter or not, Khushi, today we are going to cover the entire chapter, entire full chapter. Okay? One entire session dedicated for quick revision of this chapter. Okay? So significance of reproduction, again, this question is asked for 2 marks. Okay? Okay, I'm going to tell you which question can be asked for what and for how many marks. Then, guys, there are 2 types of reproduction: asexual and sexual. Asexual uniparental, sexual biparental. Yes, James, we have the message. VGT finale is going to be on. Shall I reveal? Just now I got the news. I'm pretty sure now. This is like the internal news, but still I'm breaking it out to you. It's going to be on 26th of February. This 26th. Okay? Yeah. So just now I got to know, and hence I'm letting you know. Cool. So asexual uniparental, sexual biparental, asexual reproduction, no gametes are involved. Okay? In sexual, gametes are involved. In asexual, there is no mixing of genetic material, but in sexual reproduction, there is mixing of genetic material. Okay, and that's the reason why we see greater variations in organisms who reproduce sexually. Now, in asexual reproduction, as there is only one parent involved, and whatever the genetic material is there with the parent is being passed to the offspring, and that's the reason why in most of the cases, organisms born with asexual reproductions are clones of each other. Hi Sri Lata, BV Sri Lata. Huh. Chalo. So now asexual reproduction in unicellular and in multicellular. So let's first focus on unicellular reproduction. Okay. So asexual reproduction basically beta unisexual asexual reproduction in unicellular and multicellular दोनों देख लेते हैं. Okay, now here binary fission, when the organism divides to give rise to two daughter cells, it's called as binary fission. As you can just a sec, as you can see in amoeba. Okay, two daughter cells, it's fission. Now amoeba divides through any random plane and hence it's called as simple binary fission. But if we talk about the euglena, okay, euglena, it is longitudinal binary fission, and in case of paramecium, transverse binary fission. Correct? Now besides this, we also see multiple fission when organisms reproduce under unfavorable condition, right? So in case of plasmodium, in case of amoeba, we see them reproducing by multiple fission. Okay, so अब तक हमने क्या क्या cover कर लिया? We covered binary fission, we covered multiple fission. Then let's talk about budding. Guys, budding is seen in unicellular as well as in multicellular. So budding in unicellular, example yeast. Budding in multicellular, example Hydra. So we see a tiny outgrowth on the surface of Hydra, and that's what we call it as a bud. The bud slowly and gradually increases in size. It develops tentacles. When the tentacles become active, the miniature Hydra separates from the body of the parent Hydra and starts living independently as a new organism. Correct? So yeah, that's budding for you. And then fragmentation. Guys, fragmentation, when the organism's body is long and filamentous, and if it breaks into multiple fragments, each broken fragment develops into a new organism. Now it's not compulsory that every time the organism's body has to be filamentous like in case of Spirogyra. Example in case of cycin. Okay, let me show you. कहाँ गया? Just a sec. Yeah. So 999. ठीक है, ये रहने दो, ठीक है, छोड़ दो. Yeah. So like in case of cycin, guys, every broken fragment develops into a new cycin. So yeah, that's fragmentation. Okay. Yep. Now sporulation, also known as spore formation. Spore formation. So spore formation is seen in fungi. Okay, on the reverse side of the leaf, especially in pteridophytes. Okay, thallophyta, bryophyta, pteridophytes, we see spores. But besides that, in fungi like mucor, rhizopus, we see spore formation. And then vegetative propagation. Guys, when we talk about vegetative propagation, when the organism reproduces, when the plants reproduce with the help of its vegetative organs like root, stem and leaves, it's called as vegetative propagation. Correct? Now guys, vegetative propagation is facilitated by natural means as well as by artificial means. Okay, अब भाई ये बंदे ने ना उल्टा कर दिया यहाँ पे, हाँ ये उल्टा कर दिया यहाँ पे, कोई ना. So natural vegetative propagation by means of root, stem and leaves. Now you all tell me the examples of each one of those. Root, vegetative propagation with the help of root. Root. Come on, quick. Root. Potato or sweet potato? Quickly tell me, potato or sweet potato? It's guys, sweet potato. Okay, and potato comes under stem. Sugarcane comes under stem. Okay, yeah. Now leaf, example of leaf. Example of leaf. Example of leaf. Come on. It has to be bryophyllum. Perfect. Now guys, artificial means cutting, layering, grafting and tissue culture. Guys, the stem cuttings that we sow, we get a new plant, है ना? Like in case of hibiscus, like in case of rose. Okay, grafting. We take the plant with roots which offers root system called as stalk. We take another plant which offers the better characteristics which we call it as scion, and we place them over each other so that their vascular tissues, that is xylem and phloem, fuse together, right? So that's grafting. And layering, when the plant is bushy enough and the branches are flexible, we bend one branch and we remove the leaves and bury that portion of the stem underneath soil. We water it regularly so that it develops roots, and then we give it a cut. That's layering. So layering is done in jasmine, right? Grafting in case of mango. Okay, Alfonso is a grafted variety, by the way, those who don't know. Okay, cutting, example rose. Okay, and now let's talk about tissue culture. By the way, the very famous example for tissue culture is banana. Guys, banana is available round the year, throughout the year, है ना? See, most of the fruits are seasonal. Grapes, winter. Mangoes, summer, right? But tissue culture, ma'am, when will you come live for ICSE? Let me plan, beta, let me plan, but very soon the session for sense organs will be there. Okay, and I will bring a quiz session for ICSE. Next week, Judson Andrew Abraham. Okay, next week. Promise, chalo. Promise. I'll bring in a quiz for ICSE live next week. Pakka wala promise. ठीक है? Yeah. So guys, when we talk about tissue culture, see guys, I have kept all the slides so that when you download it, all the notes are handy for you. Okay? All the notes are handy for you. So go through the notes. I have kept everything. Array, how can I skip regeneration? Regeneration occurs in organisms with a complex body design, and it is achieved only with the help of specialized cells, which we call them as regenerative cells. So regenerative cells divide and redivide, they proliferate, then they undergo differentiation and either transform into a new body part or help that organism transform into an altogether, help that body part transform into altogether a new organism, right? So complete regeneration is shown by planaria and starfish because they have regenerative cells present all over their body. Okay. However, when we talk about the tails of lizard or the liver in human beings, we show limited regeneration, right? One more example to remember, very important, that is Hydra. Even Hydra shows you regeneration. Okay, even Hydra shows you regeneration. Chanchal beta, there is an amazing YT shot presented by me to tell you the difference between fragmentation and regeneration. Okay, fragmentation takes place in organisms with a simple body design. Regeneration takes place in organisms with a complex body design. Fragmentation takes place with the help of normal body cells, that is somatic cells. Regeneration requires specialized regenerative cells. In fragmentation, every broken fragment transforms into a new organism. In regeneration, organism is either able to regrow the lost body part or is able to transform into an entirely new organism. Example for fragmentation, Spirogyra cycle. Example for regeneration, complete regeneration by starfish planaria, incomplete regeneration by liver in human beings, and tails in lizards. Okay. And Vanita is saying it is not considered to be a mode of reproduction. Exactly. Because regeneration demands the body to be cut. No organism can wait for its body to be cut in order to reproduce. है ना? कोई organism बोलेगा क्या? Come on, dude, catch me so that I can reproduce. No, it can never happen. है ना? So yeah. Thank you, Chanchal. And spore formation, beta, we already discussed this, that it generates thousands of spores, and in fungi especially, there is a blob-like structure which is called as a sporangium. The sporangium ruptures and the spores are being released. When the spores fall over suitable substratum, and there is availability of three things: warmth, moisture, and food. I repeat, warmth, moisture, and food. Okay, warmth, moisture, and food. That's what we in that condition the spores germinate and transform into new fungal colonies. For example, if the fungal spores land on this pouch, they will not germinate. But if they land up on a piece of bread, if there is warmth, if there is moisture, and of course the bread is serving as a food, okay, that time it will develop. Okay, so I'll write 3 conditions: warmth, moisture, and food, that is nutrition. Okay, so 3 things are required for the germination of fungal spores. Okay, so guys, if you're finding the session to be useful, like, share, subscribe, post me a you, hit on the bell icon. Okay, yep. तो ये वेजिटेटिव प्रोपोगेशन भी हो गया था बच्चों. I have kept all the slides so that it is helpful for you. Okay, you download the session and you are exam ready. Okay, so now yes, Khushi Devre, absolutely right. Now guys, tissue culture. What is done in tissue culture? So guys, the rapidly dividing tissue, that's the meristematic tissue, is removed. Okay, it is removed from the plant. So see, this is the leaf. If we remove this part, this small part will be called as the explant. Plant se nikal diya, we have removed it from the plant, so that's called as an explant. Now explant is being transferred into the nutrient medium, first nutrient medium, where the cells will grow and multiply, and will form a cluster of cells which we call it as callus. It actually looks like a popcorn. Okay, ekdam totally undifferentiated. Now beta, here we only find callus, we don't find anything else. So now it is transferred into second nutrient medium. Second nutrient medium. In that second nutrient medium, we add hormones. Rooting hormone and shooting hormone. We add rooting hormone and shooting hormone. And that's the reason why you see the miracle over here. You get to see the roots as well as you get to see the shoots. Okay. So, yes, in a plant tissue culture, plants which do not produce viable seeds, plants which cannot reproduce by sexual means that easily, okay, plants in which the number of seeds are very less or very few or cannot germinate or undergo dormancy. In all those category of plants, difficult category of plants, we opt for tissue culture. Okay, हाँ. खुशी देवरे मुझे पूछ रही है नोट्स कहाँ से डाउनलोड करें. बाळा खुशी, व्हिडिओच्या खालती ना तुला डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स दिसेल. ओके, in that description box there will be notes of this session once my session is over, not now. Okay, माझं सेशन संपलं ना की तुला नोट्स भेटतील तिकडे. ओके बाळा, या चलो. So this is what we call it as tissue culture. So if it is done in plants, plant tissue culture. If it is done in animals, it's called as animal tissue culture. Now let's talk about, guys, sexual reproduction in plants. Now to understand sexual reproduction in plants, this particular question is asked for 2 marks to draw. Now when they ask you to draw, please draw a diagram which is at least visible. Don't draw microscopic diagram. Do not draw macroscopic diagram. Dinosaur nahi banana hai. Draw a decent diagram. Okay. Now either all the labels on the right hand side or balance it. 3 on right, 3 on left. Okay. Haan. You're welcome, Khushi. So here the stalk of the flower is not called as stem. It's called as pedicel. Right? Then the green colored parts are what we call as sepals. है ना? Many sepals group to form calyx. ठीक है? Now there are colorful petals. So many petals group to form corolla. So calyx and corolla are the outer walls of a flower. Now the inner walls. On the inner side we see lobed structures which we call it as anther, and a stalk-like structure which we call it as filament. Anther and filament collectively is called as the stamen. Men, stamen. Stamen. So stamen is the male part of the flower. Now, as you can see in the flower, there are 4 stamens. Yes or no? There are 4 stamens. So, बच्चों, stamens are the members of androecium. Okay? Stamens are the members of androecium. Now, let us see on the other side. We have a sticky stigma, an elongated region which we call it as style, and a swollen base which we call it as ovary. Now inside the ovary we have ovules, right? So this style, stigma and ovary, style, stigma and ovary is collectively called as pistil. It's collectively called as pistil. Pistil is alternatively known as carpel. Okay. Now this forms the female part of a flower. Female part. Now, beta, here in this flower we have only one carpel, but there can be many carpels. Okay, many carpels. So carpels are the members of gynoecium. Now, खुशी is saying मैम ये एंड्रोशियम gynoecium याद करना पड़ेगा. हाँ बेटा याद कर लो. See guys, this is a very basic topic from grade 8 to grade 10. It has been repeated, it has been upgraded, and even if you don't see this terms androecium and gynoecium, you can have some activity based or case based questions wherein these terms can be there, and I don't want you to be introduce these terms like an alien term. You should be already knowing it. Okay, थोड़ा बहुत तो मालूम होना चाहिए. Okay, yep. So guys, let us talk about the functions. Now this is again very important. They can give you a table and ask you to complete, or they can give you names of 2 parts and they can ask you to write down the functions of those parts. Okay, now petals, they are usually large, brightly colored, attract the insects for pollination. Okay, sepals, green in color, perform photosynthesis. They protect the flower in bud condition. Bud condition. Then stigma. Guys, stigma is always sticky because it has nectar on it. So it receives the pollen grains for fertilization. Okay. Ovary has the female sex cell, that is the egg cell. Okay. So female sex cell, inside the ovule there is egg cell. Okay. Inside the ovule there is egg cell. Ovule is not sex cell. Okay. Ovule, inside the ovule egg cell. ओके, ठीक है. ओव्यूल एग का घर है और घर के अंदर हमारा अंडा बैठा है. ठीक है. यप. एंड देन anthers contain the pollen grains. Okay. So guys, now when the pollen grains are being transferred, the transfer of pollen grain from anther to the stigma, from the anther to the stigma is known as pollination, is known as pollination. Okay. So guys, pollination is the transfer of pollen grains. Okay, transfer of pollen grains. Now this transfer can happen between one flower or 2 flowers of the same plant. Between one flower or 2 flowers of the same plant, and that's called as self-pollination. However, if the pollen grain is being transferred from one flower to another flower born on 2 different plants, then it's called cross-pollination. Okay? Okay, understood? So guys, if you're finding it interesting, if you're finding the session to be useful, like, share, subscribe, post me a guys. Chalo, hit on the like button. Okay. Now the pollinating agents can be living or non-living. Pollinating agents are what we call it as pollinators. It can be wind, it can be by means of water, it can be by means of insects, birds, bats. Okay. But cross-pollination introduces genetic variation. That's most important criteria. Okay, cross pollination leads to genetic variation. Yeah, so you don't have this anemophily, hydrophily, entomophily, ornithophily, or chiropterophily. You don't have these terms. सादा सुधा लिख दो, सादा सुधा, wind, water, insects, birds and bats. Okay, ठीक है? Yeah, चलो. Then now fertilization and post-fertilization events. Guys, the egg cell that's present within the ovule, okay, fuses with the sperm cell present within the pollen grain. Okay, pollen grain, and this is what we call it as fertilization. Okay, fertilization. Now fertilization leads to formation of zygote. Now zygote divides and redivides, and it forms an embryo, right? So post-fertilization, ovule transforms into, guys, ovule transforms into seed, है ना? हाँ. And Chanchal got to know that someone is calling me on my phone. Smart girl, huh? And ovary transforms into fruit, and all the other parts of the flower, calyx, corolla, etc., they all wither away. Okay, acha, Chanchal is a boy. ठीक है बेटा. Okay, great. So now let's talk about the sexual reproduction in animals, that is human beings. So guys, sexual maturity begins when a person hits puberty, when an individual hits puberty, right? Now puberty is associated with three changes: physical, chemical and behavioral changes. So physical changes, guys, when in case of boys, face becomes oily, one may develop pimples, there's development of facial hair in the form of mustache and beard, voice becomes hoarse, growth of hair in the armpits, arms, legs, groin area, that is pubic hair, है ना? These are all physical changes. Then chemical changes, guys, hormone, the testosterone level increases exponentially in boys, है ना? And that's the reason why there are so many other changes associated with it. ठीक है, all those secondary sexual characteristics are a result of this chemical change. Now behavioral change, mood swings, है ना? मूड स्विंग्स नहीं आते? बहुत आते हैं ना बच्चों, कि मैं क्रिकेट खेलूं, नहीं मैं फ्री फायर खेलता हूँ, अरे यार फ्री फायर से तो लोग सुसाइड कर रहे हैं, मैं पबजी खेलता हूँ, अरे पबजी में तो कोई नया अपडेट आता नहीं है, छोड़ो यार ये सब हटाओ, मैं वेदांतु 9th and 10th इंग्लिश चैनल देखता हूँ. Yes or no? So behavioral changes in boys. Now let us talk about changes in girls. Physical changes, again face becomes oily, one may develop pimples, and besides that there's breast development, hip enlargement, and onset of menstrual cycle. So these are certain changes. Chemical changes, hormone estrogen is being secreted, है ना? And that's the reason why all the secondary sexual characters are being seen in girls. And behavioral changes, even girls experience mood swings, and those mood swings are terrible when girls are around their periods, right? So yeah, mood swings hota hai. Attraction towards some person, okay, that is also very common because of puberty. Okay, see, boys and girls, I would like to address this one thing. These are crucial years, 9, 10th, 11th, 12th, and this is the time of your adolescence, and your hormones are very high, and that's the reason why you get attracted, and that's a phase. Once the hormones will drop down, the attraction will fade away, but your crucial years are gone by that time. They will never come back. So the only thing that you should be attracted right now are your books. Okay, so that attraction will never pay you back some ill effects or bad results or bad fruits. Okay, so yeah, हमारा अट्रैक्शन सिर्फ एक ही है, हमारे बुक्स. ओके बच्चों, सो छोटू खान है यहाँ पे, एंड लेट्स प्रोसीड फर्दर. नाउ पार्ट्स ऑफ मेल रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम: टेस्टिस, डक्ट्स एंड ग्लैंड्स. 3 पार्ट्स. टेस्टिस कहाँ गया? टेस्टिस, ducts and glands. So guys, the function of testis to produce sperms and the hormone testosterone, right? Now testis is placed in a sac-like structure that's called as a scrotum. Scrotum is placed outside of the abdomen. I mean, testes are placed outside of the abdominal cavity in a sac-like structure that's called as scrotum, so that 2 to 3 degree lesser body temperature can be maintained over here, which is favorable for the production of sperms. Okay, and then once the sperms are being produced, they are carried away with the help of ducts. So duct number 1, epididymis; duct number 2, vasa deferens; duct number 3, urethra. Okay, so these are ducts. Okay, then there are 3 glands. Okay, the first one, seminal vesicle, which adds fluid for the sperms to swim, plus it adds nutrition, okay, because of which the sperms can actually swim. Okay, yeah, so seminal vesicles, they produce a fluid in which the nutrients are also added. Then there is one gland, that's the prostate gland, and then there is another gland, paired gland, which we call it as the Cowper's gland. Okay, Cowper's gland. So guys, the mixture of these 3 glands, mixture of the secretions of these 3 glands plus sperms is what we call it as semen. Okay, secretions of 3 glands plus sperms is what we call it as semen. Men, semen. Chanchal, how do you come to know that someone is calling me? हाँ, कैसे पता चलता है that someone is calling me? वाइब्रेशन की आवाज आती है क्या? नहीं बेटा, आज मेंटी नहीं है. Yeah. So, testis, production of sperms and sex hormone, that's testosterone. Okay, epididymis, it stores the sperms, okay, for maturation. Vasa deferens, it carries the sperms, okay, it conducts the sperms, not stores, it conducts the sperms, okay, and urethra also conducts the sperms, okay, and then 3 glands, seminal vesicles, prostate gland and bulbourethral gland, also known as the Cowper's gland. Okay, easy, okay. Experience of 2 years, माशाल्लाह चंचल, एक नंबर. ठीक है, yeah, हाँ. And then in females, a pair of ovaries, a pair of oviducts, a single muscular uterus and a small tube known as urethra. Okay, so guys, ovaries produce ova and the hormone estrogen as well as progesterone. Okay, oviducts conduct the ovum. They are also known as fallopian tubes. It's a site for fertilization. Uterus, guys, uterus houses the developing embryo during pregnancy, है ना? Cervix is the neck of the uterus, also known as the lower part of the uterus. It opens up into vagina, vaginal passage, organ not just for sexual intercourse, but it's also called as the birth canal, and it's also serves as the menstrual pathway. Okay, and then clitoris is not there in the syllabus. So Om Ignoraya Nama. ठीक है, हाँ. छोटू खान, स्पर्म का क्या भारी स्पेलिंग लिखे हो. Vas a deference, vas a defense, help to flow of sperm, SPAM sperm. एक नंबर, एक नंबर. I am impressed. ठीक है. So now post fertilization what happens? The fusion of sperm with the egg leads to the formation of one cell structure, that's the zygote. Okay, it divides and redivides to form multi-celled, okay, multi-celled, which we call it as embryo. When it develops body parts, okay, when it develops body parts, it's called as a fetus. Spelling error, fetus. And finally when it is born, it's the baby. है कि नहीं बच्चों, है कि नहीं? Yeah. So guys, that's super awesome. Now when the fetus is actually developing within the mother's uterus, okay, it's connected with the mother with the help of a cord, that's the umbilical cord. Now umbilical cord is connected with the help of a disc-like vascular tissue embedded in the uterine wall, which is called as the placenta. ठीक है? Now here in the placenta, guys, there are blood spaces on the mother's side, okay, and then there are villi on the fetal side. So all the nutrients, oxygen, hormones, okay, antibodies, they are all transferred from the mother to the fetus via placenta through the umbilical cord. Okay, however, the waste that has been generated in the fetal body is sent back via umbilical cord through the placenta into the mother's body. Okay, yes beta, I could not read your message. What have you posted? पता नहीं मुझे, आप वापस से पूछ लो. ठीक है? Yep. Now let us come to the last and the final segment, contraceptive methods. Mechanical, chemical, IUDs and surgical. So contra means against and conception means pregnancy. So any device or product which works against pregnancy is what we call it as contraceptive. Okay, and mechanical barriers which act as a barrier between the egg and the sperm cell, preventing fertilization. So example, condoms, okay, diaphragms, ठीक है, then vaginal sponges, these are all like mechanical barrier. Okay, and beta Muhammad Ali Khan, you can post your liberal thoughts somewhere else. Okay, all the best. Cool, chalo. And then chemical barriers, these contain oral contraceptive pills. ठीक है, oral contraceptives. And oral contraceptives prevent ovulation. Then again there are spermicidal gels. ठीक है, IUDs, intrauterine contraceptive devices. Example, Puberty. And surgical methods, in females it's tubectomy and in males it's vasectomy, है ना? So out of all these methods, condoms are the only one which not only prevent unwanted pregnancy, but they also prevent the transmission of STDs. Okay, so they are cheap, they are reliable, they are easily available, and very effective in controlling STDs as well as unwanted pregnancies. Okay, so with this note we complete this chapter. Now bachcho, now there are two more chapters. One is heredity and evolution. So guys, in all my upcoming sessions, I am going to actually sketch and write everything one by one point on the screen. I'm going to teach you general terms related to genetics, and then few more things like how to create Mendel's cross, monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross, how to determine blood group, everything. So stay with me. And how many of you are avid lover of हिंदी चैनल? हिंदी चैनल कितने लोग देखते हो बच्चों? हिंदी वेदांतु 9th and 10th हिंदी चैनल. James, I really don't know at what time it is going to be. ठीक है? हाँ. So beta, all the amazing teachers on Hindi channel, which includes AKR sir, Harsh Priyam sir, Amrit sir, Anubha ma'am, then all the teachers, all amazing teachers on Hindi channel, they are going to teach in a special batch, which we call it as Drona batch. Drona batch. So Drona batch is like a quick short-term batch, like a revision batch, crash batch, not a revision, crash course like batch, which will help you prepare for your CBSE class 10 board required tips and tricks, important questions and everything. तो कितने लोग एनरोल करना चाहेंगे भाई? How many of you would like to enroll? है ना? चलो let me show you the details. ये मेरा स्पीड तो देख लो नेट का, वो तो जाने दो, लेकिन यहाँ पे आते हैं. ठीक है? So this is my ongoing video and here. So बच्चों, let's go to the description box. Okay? So can you see the link? Drona Class 10 enrollment link. Click on this link. ठीक है? Drona Class 10. Now if you belong to 9th grade, we have Udan batch run by English teachers. Okay? Drona batch by Hindi teachers. Udan batch for grade 9 by English teachers. Okay? English channel teachers. Now here, guys, you will get term 2 entire syllabus, subject wise test, note and replace, basically exam related guidance is there. Okay? So ये सब कुछ ना बेटा आएगा आपको सिर्फ 2970 में with my coupon code, that is MAKPRO. ठीक है? However, the best thing is we have classic as well. Okay, classic as well, wherein there is a doubt solving app, but it is only from 8 to 11 at 2970. Okay, so मैं तो कहूँगी ये लाइट ही बहुत है, लाइट ले लो और लाइट हो जाओ. So अमृत सर, अमित सर, अनुभा मैम, अंकना मैम, AKR sir, Harsh Priyam sir, everyone is there. So guys, buy this complete course ना man. What are you waiting for? तो मेरा कूपन कोड अप्लाई कर दो MACPRO and avail the discount. Okay? ठीक है? तो कितने लोग एनरोल करेंगे भाई? कितने लोग एनरोल करेंगे? बताओ मेरे को. Tell me. So here is your homework question. Okay? Explain two differences between. Please share the link. Pooja Srivastava, the link is given in the description box बेटा. Description box में जाओ. ठीक है? Description box में जाओ. वहां पे आपको द्रोणा का लिंक मिलेगा. क्लिक करो, वहां पे कूपन कोड डालो MACPRO, आपको मिल जाएगा. ओके? ठीक है? So explain the difference between fragmentation and regeneration. ठीक है? Okay? So Pooja, I'm eagerly waiting for you to enroll in Drona batch. और पूजा के साथ साथ और कौन कौन एनरोल कर रहा है? Atuluri, Rupini, I'm awesome. So all those who are actually eager to enroll in Drona batch or even grade 9 Udan batch, MACPRO is the coupon code. Okay, MAKPRO, which will give you additional 10% discount. And that's it. Thank you so much for being a part of my session. Let's meet in the next session. Till then, Allah Hafiz, Mila Wapis, and keep watching Vedantu. Guys, like, share, subscribe. Bye bye. Take care. Tada.